Guess who's back? And if your first answer was Boyan's cough, you would be right. Yes, it is back in, I won't say full swing, but it's there and it is already annoying as all hell. You can probably hear that my voice has changed a little bit. That is because I have a sore throat, and it isn't that I sing or anything, but if I ever need to hit a high note, especially while I talk or impersonate voices, this will be especially difficult. I was joking with a coworker of mine how much we had to work, and I tried, to imitate those mice from Cinderella. Cinderella's, and I couldn't. I simply couldn't pull out their squeaky voices. So that's that. I've been to Zlatibor and it was great for the most of the time. That is when I wasn't irate because of all the destruction that's being brought there by local authorities. But it is what it is. So I went with a friend of mine, Sonia, to see the new Lion King movie. I didn't really want to go, but she's a huge Disney fan, and okay, why not? It can't be worse than the previous live-action installments, right? So what's the worst thing that can happen? And to be quite honest, I was surprised because I didn't hate it as nearly as I hated all of the others. I'll be quoting Sonia a couple of times here because I don't think that I will do you guys justice if I omitted saying some of her comments. For example, during the before the movie started, they showed a trailer for Maleficent 2, and it was sort of clear that this time Aurora's mother is the villain. And Sonia said, "What is this? Maleficent 2, Mother-in-Law Rising?" And they could have made a great movie out of it. In general, the Maleficent franchise. They could have showed the story from Maleficent's side, and it could have been, sympathetic with her still being a villain, instead of going the route that they did. That is where everybody but Maleficent is practically, well, at best insane and at worst plain evil. I really like the king from the original movie, well, all of the characters from the original movie, and I hated what they did to him in the movie. Like, no, he was a kind father. Don't turn him into a villain just so that we would have a good Maleficent. Did I like the new Lion King movie? Yes, I did. I didn't expect to say this, and I hope to give some, Christian interpretation at the end of this review. By the way, speaking of which, I should repeat again, if you're new to the channel, I'm not a movie critic. I couldn't have made a better movie because that is not what I do, so I'm just sharing some of my thoughts and opinions. Okay, so I'll start with the good stuff. Good stuff, first of all, CGI is pretty amazing. In a couple of scenes, it could have fooled me that it is a real thing. Like, it's simply beyond words. And I suppose you could see it simply on that merit. I think that people should have seen the Avatar movie simply because of the CGI and the dreamlike planet that they have created there. However, I also believe that the movie would be far better if it didn't have any characters or whatever, that they should have made a fake documentary about a non-existent planet. And that would make the movie far better than having an intergalactic Pocahontas story. I'll focus on a problem. Well, not focus, I'll simply mention the problem. And everybody's saying this, and if you follow this movie, you will know what I'm about to say about the CGI, and that is the animal faces. Animals can't make convincing faces, and if you want to depart from the cartoony element, which they did, animals practically don't make faces. And when, spoiler warning, when Mufasa dies, you could use that scene of Simba screaming for anything else. Him screaming, "Yay! Nay! Father, no!" Whatever. It's pretty much the same. Um, Next thing that I really liked was the soundtrack. Um, you know, as a kid, you tend to notice only the songs. You don't pay too much attention to the soundtrack itself. Uh, the only time I noticed the background music to something was during the final scene of The Little Mermaid. That is the combat scene when Prince Eric is fighting Ursula, and it is one of my favorite tunes, even if it's not sung. And here there are so many moments where I was like, the soundtrack to this is so majestic, so beautiful. There is one song they have changed, and that was my favorite song, which is "Be Prepared." I like villain songs. I never liked Hakuna Matata. It's just me. For me, it's just me. But anyway, here it is very much different, because here it is much shorter and it is sort of recited as opposed to sung. However, I must say that I like the new version a lot. I'm just sad that it wasn't longer, and that maybe they could have made it into a reprise of the original song while keeping the original. Just sharing my thoughts. It was okay. They added a new song. I can't remember its name. It's a very short song when Simba is running towards Pride Rock to fulfill his duty, and this song fitted fit no it fit fit the movie perfectly. Like, I'll compare it to a different song in Aladdin live action movie. That is that poor unfortunate song that Princess Jasmine sings, which was plain atrocious. It didn't fit the tone of the movie. It didn't fit anything in the movie. And Sonia again remarked that it sounded like some Belarus Eurovision song that got 2 points in total for the entire competition. And yes, that is how it felt. Now, the reminder of the good things that I liked about this movie is practically the absence of everything that made Disney live action remakes horrible. First of all, there is absence of political correctness. For example, in Beauty and the Beast, there's a black priest in like 17th century, which is not something you would see in France. In Aladdin, you have Princess Jasmine outright saying to her father that she wants to be the next sultan, which would in real life ended up her being strangled with a silken cord. Of course, there are some departures from history, and that is all fine, but sometimes they're so painful and jarring to the ear or the eye. Again, nothing problematic with black characters, nothing problematic with strong women characters, but this is not the way to do it. Jasmine was a strong female character. When you have a 16th century French village, there isn't much roles for black characters, but that can be easily remedied with a new movie that takes place, I don't know, in Africa or in a modern setting where, races are kind of more intermingled than they were in the past centuries, and so on and so forth. So there was absence of that. As regard to strong female characters, then again, that is something that they didn't do. Again, in the Beauty and the Beast, they make Belle this inventor while there was no such thing. She was already considered practically the smartest girl in the village, so there was no real need to power up. Nala in this movie, again, isn't some. She's simply, trying to help her pride, and it is fine. It works well. She's still, she's the one. She's the mere bearer to Simba, because it is she who practically convinces him, along with his father and Rafiki, to do his damn job. you know and I'll simply turn to the bad things about the movie, because there aren't really that many, but they are important. They changed the hyena characters so that they're not as comic relief as they were in the original movie, in order to fit, darker and grittier tone. But sadly, the new characters also don't fit. Okay, they make a funny joke here or there, but they don't fit. The biggest sin of this movie is practically that it's a cash grab, and it's a very successful cash grab. You practically won't miss anything from if you don't see it and simply see the original cartoon instead. That's the biggest issue. Then you might say, well, Boyan, if it's a cash grab, why did you go see it? Well, because a friend invited me, and a particular personal invitation is more important to me than abstract fighting with a huge company that I can't defeat. That is the biggest thing. I am sorry that they changed the Shadowlands, which was a cool elephant graveyard in the original, where here it is just, some mud piles and termite colonies or something. I didn't like the character of Timon, because I don't know, I just found him jarring. He simply sounded like somebody I wouldn't really want to be friends with. So, the Christian interpretation. I don't have much time, but this applies both to the original movie and the and this remake. Okay. First of all, there are the saints, that is the previous kings of the lions, who are stars in heaven, and Rafiki, the monkey priest, who at the beginning of the movie baptizes, chrismates, anoints, however you want to call it, confirms Simba. He says that his father lives in him, but this isn't just, a mere pretty saying that he's the cause of your existence. That is when that majestic scene when Mufasa appears in the heaven and tells Simba to do his damn job, because that's what he's called to do. He had a vocation. There are basically three kinds of approaches to God in this movie. First one is the definitely satanic side, Scar and the hyenas. Then you have the saintly side, which is mostly lions and Mufasa. And third, and this is the largest and the most dangerous group, so to speak, they're carefree individuals, the one who are relaxed, the one who are Hakuna Matata. And while Hakuna Matata is a very nice song and, relaxing, it is one that will eventually kill you. And that is because Timon and Pumbaa constantly are trying to convince Simba to stay at their fool's paradise. But in the end, even they see that if they persist in their ideology, hyenas will come for them. So you have to repent in a way to live that carefree existence, because nothing is ever carefree. You will get devoured if you become complacent with your pleasures, with everything that God has given you. I don't know just how intentionally Christians the themes of this movie were, but there are extremely. And I will just say one more thing. There is one joke that was simply terrific, that I loved a lot, when Timon and Pumbaa are trying to draw Hyena's attention away from Nala and Simba. And it is one of these things that I think that credit is due, when something is done right. So, see it, maybe don't see it, simply see an original cartoon if you really want to, and that's it. Bye!